Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? This is your boy Kim Hoang, the host of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and we're here doing another great installment of the episode mini. That's right, we're bringing back the episode mini. Now, I have to explain it. An episode mini is where we actually take a full-fledged episode, talk about one subject matter, and then we try to do it within a 10-minute time frame. Sometimes we actually finish on time. Sometimes we finish early. And sometimes we go a little bit past 10 minutes. But it's all good. It's all well and fun. And, anybody that knows about our episode minis know that we try to do it pretty much on time in terms of like trying to make it within 10 minutes. And even if it's not, we still have a ball doing it, so it's all good in the hood. This one's going to be a real tough one. In the world of action movie films and the world of martial arts, we lost a good one. And that we lost recently somebody who I looked up to, not only as a martial arts actor, but also a martial artist. And I really felt like, wow, this was somebody that I felt like, man, was like a good role model. And that we lost the great Grandmaster Chuck Norris. He had recently passed away at the age of 86. And I got to tell you, I was really, really shocked about it. I really was shocked about, Chuck Norris passing away and so forth. And the reason why that I was a little bit shocked was because I didn't think it was true. A lot of people pull a lot of pranks on a lot of jokes, and they would do some jokes, at Chuck's cost. You know what I mean? But when you hear a lot of, people talking about it through social media, and then a lot of your friends go ahead and text you about the news and send you links from CNN and, CNBC, Fox News, NBC News, CBS News, TMZ, ESPN, you knew after that it was true. It was really true. Chuck Norris was definitely a legend, when it came to being a martial arts competitor, and to be honest with you, even in the acting world. But before all that, Chuck Norris was born in Ryan, Oklahoma. He served in the military in the United States Air Force, and then shortly thereafter, when he was stationed over in Osan Air Force Base in Korea, South Korea, he actually started learning Korean Tang Soo Do, which is a Korean form of karate, of martial arts. When he actually got back after service, he actually opened his own martial arts studio in the LA, California area, started competing, and started actually winning a lot of tournaments, and including a lot of grand championships. Grand championships that includes the following: the Long Beach International Tournament. For those that are that know the NASCA circuit, which is the North American Sport Karate Association, he actually won the Battle of Atlanta. I believe he won it twice. And for those that are more traditionalists, he had won the S. Henry Cho's All-American Open, which was over in New York City, over at Madison Square Gardens, and I believe that Chuck Norris won that twice. Chuck Norris was quite the legend, and when he stopped his competition days, being a very decorated grand champion and world champion in full contact fighting, he decided to go ahead and make the leap into acting. Of course, for those that are big movie historians and martial art buffs, the big break was in, I believe, 1972, when he actually co-starred as the main villain in the movie The Way of the Dragon, starring Bruce Lee. And then from then, it just kind of snowballed where he started to get like, big breaks and breaking his way in the industry. Starring in movies like, his first movie was, in the starring capacity, Breaker Breaker. Let's see, The Octagon, Force of One, Good Guys Wear Black, Invasion USA, the Missing in Action movie series, the Delta Force. There's so many great movies that I can even remember. Like even when he actually starred co-starring with Jonathan Brandis in Sidekicks. And of course, who doesn't forget the greatest TV series of them all, Walker, Texas Ranger. Chuck Norris was affiliated a lot of years with Century Martial Arts, and was a decorated martial artist, earning various styles of black belts. Tong Sudo, Taekwondo, Karate, Judo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And all of that while he actually founded his own style, his own discipline called Chun Kuk Do, which then led to a fact that he actually made his own martial arts organization. I believe it's called the UFAF, the United Fighting Arts Federation. And Chuck Norris at that point was just, all about, spreading the martial arts and spreading the word of it. And especially with the kids out there, he actually did a foundation called Kick Drugs Out of America, which actually allowed young people to take martial arts and to learn the ways of the martial arts while, trying to avoid being out on the street, causing violence and getting into drugs and stuff like that. Chuck was quite the, person that gave back to his community, especially his martial arts community. This was a heavy blow to every martial artist out there, I think, because no matter what style of martial arts that you studied, when you heard about the name Chuck Norris, you have to respect, what the man's done throughout his career. Being a martial arts competitor and winning and becoming a grand champion, acting in a lot of film projects and TV projects like Walker, Texas Ranger. It's really incredible. For some of us, like myself specifically, when I was born, Bruce Lee was already gone. I heard about Bruce Lee and I give him a lot of respect and all. But, Chuck Norris became my Bruce Lee, meaning that when I was born, he was alive, he was kicking, he was making a lot of movies and doing really well. And just learning about him, reading about a lot of, magazine articles about him, whether if it's, a martial arts based publication or just something like People's or Us magazine or stuff like that. I had so much, respect for Chuck for what he did in the martial arts and what he did as an actor. And I truly believe that, with a person like Chuck Norris, there'll never be another one. Not in the least, they've always say that, when martial artists, they die, and especially if they're martial artists that made it into the action movie genre, there'll always be like another one like them. And I truly disagree with that. I think there was one Chuck Norris. There will only be one Chuck Norris. And I know that right now the martial arts community lost a big one. We lost somebody who was really a pioneer of how he trained and how he did combat and how he competed. We also lost one in the terms of like, a solid actor. Wasn't like one of those guys that won an Academy Award or anything like that, but you had to give him his due. Whenever there was an action film, it was solid, and Chuck Norris did a real good job with it. And my only thoughts I can really say is that it hurts, and especially like, maybe this is the nerd side of me, but when you have a cartoon named after you, Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos, I kind of feel like you also made it, not only for the adults, but for the young kids as well. And for those that don't know what Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos, that was a cartoon. Unfortunately, I think it only saw 4 episodes, but it was a cartoon back in the 80s, and a lot of people, went with it. I think that cartoon drawed a lot of attention and wanted to have, the young kids wanted to be a martial artist like Chuck Norris because of that reason. So, there you go. My heart goes out to his family, his friends, people that knew him, especially the many people that he had taught throughout the years of martial arts training. My heart goes out to them. And, Chuck, I know right now you're probably up in heaven kicking with the angels and, reuniting with loved ones like, karate legend Joe Louis, Bruce Lee, and all of them. So all I have to say is rest in peace, my brother. Rest in peace. That said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get out of here. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. As always, please like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on all of the podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast. We also are on Amazon Music. We're also on YouTube Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Please like, follow, and subscribe to it on all of those platforms, and please spread the word. Whether if you want to spread it in person or through social media, spread the word, because sharing is caring, and the brand awareness, we definitely would appreciate that. But that's it. That's all. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is well. But I got to get going because, the creative mind never stops, especially when it comes to being a podcast host of a great show like the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. It's been real, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless y'all. Be safe and be well. Peace.